Hi guys, this is Daryl and this is another Fit Tip of Today. Today I would like to demonstrate the high pull. Now in my last video I demonstrated the upright row. Now these are two different exercises. Now the upright row, again just to recap, was you'd bring the bar 12 inches off your body and you're coming up about the nipple line or the top of the sternum. Right in that point. Now keep in mind guys that when you do these exercises with all of Vince's stuff, or my exercises or whatever, there's going to be different modifications to these exercises. I've been doing these exercises for over 30 years and there's going to be small little differences than something that Vince might have wrote about 50 years ago. What I have found that sometimes going up a little bit higher works best for me. So for example, on the upright row, someone had mentioned that Vince said to go to about the nipple line, when you come up. And that's fine, I guess that works. But I find that it works best for me when I go up to the sternum line. So, so there's going to be differences. The exercise and the execution is exactly the same, except for I might just go up a little bit, maybe 1 or 2 inches more, or whatever. So I think you have to kind of find what works best for you. But if you execute the exercises in the right pattern, then you're going to get the benefit that you're looking for. So, rather than be so nitpicky and every minute little detail, again, it's going to be different for different people. So, but again, execution is the key. Now with the high pull is different because it allows the leverage point to be further out from the fulcrum. So when you bring something further away from the fulcrum, it's going to create a different type of intensity as if we were closer to the fulcrum. So with the high pull, it's the same idea, same setup as the upright row, that your heels are together, your toes are flared, you're going to be slightly bent in the knees. Now this is a great position to stay in because you can't cheat. When your legs are straight and you just kind of stand there with your feet kind of parallel, there's a chance to kind of use your hips and throw the weight up and so on. When your feet are together, your heels are together, and your toes are flared, knees are bent, it just makes it a lot harder to cheat. And it really isolates the muscle better. So it's something to kind of get the habit of. So that's how we set up with the high pull. So your high pull is the same setup as the upright row. The bar is going to start on your thighs. Again, you're going to hold the bar about 12 to 15 inches apart, depending, again, this is going to be dependent on your shoulder width. Some guys that have really big shoulders, they can grab the bar further out. People that have smaller shoulders, you have to grab the bar in. So that's kind of how these work, So like, if everyone's going to keep measuring every little minute detail of these exercises, it's kind of ridiculous because, again, we have to look at bio-individuality. I mean, if you're dealing with some guy who's 6'7", like a Shaquille O'Neal kind of guy, his shoulders are way out there, and you say, well, you're going to hold the same distance as a guy who's 5'7", we have to kind of make the judgment and say, okay, you're going to have to open up your hands a little bit further. So, please don't email me again and with all the little minute details saying, well, it should be 6 inches or 7 inches or 8 inches or whatever. The execution is perfect. So it's, if I'm not exactly 12 inches, might be 13 inches, don't go calling the White House and trying to get me shut down. So anyway, so again, with the setup here, the same thing. Now you're going to start with the bar on your thighs, and you're going to go ahead and we're going to pull that bar up, just like I'm doing right here. As you're going to pull up, and you're going to stay in this nice smooth pattern as you go up and then come back down. So here you're going up over your head here. Now when I talked about the upright row, it was important because the closer you are to the fulcrum, when you're in close here like this and you're pulling up, there's no need to go any higher than, again, the nipple line or the high sternum point, because that's going to start to activate the trapezius. So when you're in here, the trapezius starts to get jammed up in there. So that's the difference. Now when I bring the leverage point further away from the fulcrum, now it's harder to activate the trapezius. So it still stays isolated into your deltoid. So that's the difference. So with the bar a little bit further now you can come up and you go up and down here. You can see it's nice and smooth, and it's going to isolate more the lateral head of the deltoid. So it's a great exercise to do. And here's a version of it with the forward position. So you can see here, again, I set up with the heels together, toes apart, knees are bent, and then the elbows are slightly bent. So it's similar to the upright row, except for again, the upright row is in here coming up. The high pull is out here and coming up higher now. Again, so we're further away from the fulcrum, and it's going to be a lot harder to get the trapezius here, even though you come over my head. So to really get the trapezius, it's very difficult when your arms are out this far. If I'm in here, now I can jam in, I can lift up with my trapezius, you see? So it's a little bit different. That's why when we do that upright row position, you only want to stop around the nipple line or the high sternum line, depending on your flexibility in your shoulder. So that's kind of the difference between the high pull and the upright row. They're both fantastic exercises to do. You can vary it throughout your workout. You can go into the upright row for a little while and then go over to the high pull for a little while. You know, change it up. Always kind of experiment with the different angles, different positions, you know, how far you can go out. You know, some guys can do some crazy things with their shoulders and they don't have any impingement problems or any shoulder problems or anything like this. So, you know, challenge yourself. You know, I've been doing this for so long that I've always kind of adjusted to the different positions, the different, you know, the angles, what position actually works best off the body. I mean, is it exactly 12 inches or is it 14 inches? You know, I mean, there's going to be different bio-individual measurement points that we have to kind of keep in consideration. So I can demonstrate the exercise and kind of teach you how to do it, and then you can execute it on your own, and you have to kind of find what works best for your own bio-individuality. So that's kind of how these exercises work. You know, we don't have Vince with us to, you know, to put his hands on us and to tell us exactly what to do anymore. So we have to kind of gauge this on our own. But what I want to try to do is try to help illustrate some of these exercises and teach you the movement so that you can help yourself kind of figure out what are the best angles and things in that nature. So again, the upright row and the high pull, two different exercises, both fantastic. Guys, if you have any questions, you want to see more videos like this, please give me an email. You can visit me on my website at www.darylconant.com. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Take care.